Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing High School, a facility set up by the government to educate the top pupils, Kiyotaka Nojoki enrolls in Class 1D. Seicha Bashir, the homeroom teacher for Class D, describes the point system as money, with each student receiving a monthly budget of 100,000 points to spend at neighborhood stores, with 1 point equaling 1 yen. She cautions the pupil that they will be evaluated on their merits. As he uses his points wisely to traverse the system, Kiyotaka meets the outgoing Kikyo Shuda and makes an effort to mend fences with his self-centered classmate, Suzune Horikita. Kiyotaka covertly invited them and 2 other students to a cafeteria in an effort to make Kushida and Suzunu friends. Suzunu, however, recognizes the scheme and departs. Kiyotaka is perplexed as the majority of Class D lavishly spends their points in tardies on April 30th without getting in trouble. The Class D pupils are shocked on May 1st to learn that they did not get any allowance. Chebashir explains it is contingent upon merit. After failing to study, the class receives 0 points for a whole month. Shir describes how the school structure operates. The 4 first-year classes are rated according to merit, and Class D has the chance to advance to Class C by doing well on tests. She issues a warning that anyone who fails the exam under the existing circumstances will be expelled. Everyone attends class frequently since they are aware of the system, except Kansudo, Kenji Ike, and Haruki Yamuchi. Suzune asks Kiyotaka to invite the lads to join her study group at the library after they have a discussion about their issues. Due to Suzune's ego, Kiyotaka and Kushida are unable to extend an invitation. Sudo makes it clear to everyone that he wants to play basketball but shows little interest in doing his homework. That evening, Kiyotaka overheard Suzune speaking to her brother Manabu, who is also the president of the student council. He threatens her because they differ on an erroneous notion of an autonomous solitude. After Kiyotaka steps in, Manabu confesses that he received a perfect score in each exam and inquires whether it was a coincidence. When the midterm tests are administered, Class D as a whole does quite well, ranking among the first years of schools in various areas. Class D passed the most recent exam except Sudo, who scored just 1 point short of passing. The grades came out because Kiyotaka paid an underclassman 15,000 points 3 days earlier to purchase test materials. He clarifies that none of this violates any school regulations. Later, Kiyotaka finds Chebashira questioning her about equality. She responds that it doesn't, and Kiyotaka concurs. To allow Sudo to remain in class, Kiyotaka and Suzune use their points to raise the exam score by 1 point. Unintentionally leaving her phone behind, Kushida is given it back by Kiyotaka. He eventually learns about her vindictive, hateful, and irascible nature. Kiyotaka is urged by Kushida to keep it a secret should she accuse him of raping her. Fusion for Class D will be postponed on July 1st owing to an incident that included Sudo and 3 Class C basketball players the day before. However, because of his bad reputation, he will be held accountable unless the class can get a witness to exonerate him by hearing the following week, in which case the class will not receive any points for the month. The 3 Class C assailants ask their classmate Kekaryun to assault them in secret in an effort to sway the outcome of the case in their favor. The pupils in Class D publish posts on social media requesting witnesses to the event with the assistance of Class B. Suzune informs Kiyotaka and the others that Ari Sakura was present and captured the incident on video. That evening, Kiyotaka and Kushida have a discussion on the truth. If there is no proof and one of the suspects is a killer and the other is a law-abiding citizen, people are more inclined to trust the law-abiding citizen even if they are guilty. The following day, Sakura is asked for the proof and unintentionally drops the camera. Sakura is a popular online model right now. Both classes testified during the tribunal presided over by Nembua, blaming one another for starting the conflict. The initial decision favors Class C. Suzune remains mute until Kiyotaka reminds her to speak. Suzune inquires as to the details of the battle, pointing out that it is very impossible for Sudo to be solely to blame for injuries of that magnitude in a 3-to-1 fight. She uses Sakura as a witness to show that she was there when she took pictures of the fight that was occurring in the background during a photo session. But the proof simply establishes her presence. It does not absolve Sudo of any crime. A compromise suspension for Sudo of 2 weeks and each of the Class 3C pupils of 1 week was put forth by Sakagami, the homeroom teacher of Class C, but was rejected by Class D. Manabu concludes the session after recognizing that one side is obviously lying, and declares that barring any admissions or new evidence, he will make his judgment the next day. To take advantage of the decision-making delay made possible by the photo, Kiyotaka and Suzune set up a trap at the stairwell. Kushida sends the 3 Class C pupils a false message telling them to meet her in the special annex, luring them to the stairs, where Kiyotaka and Suzune are waiting, and Honami and Chinoze has set up security cameras. This helps trick the Class C students into believing that there is no use in pursuing the complaint, and that the 3 may be expelled for spreading a malicious lie that had an adverse effect on the school. After that, Shizuku, the alter ego of the electronic shop clerk and a devoted user of the internet, assaults Sakura, but Kiyotaka and Ichinoze come to her rescue and use the tracking function on their phones and the security cameras to detain the clerk. Suzune is informed by Chebashir that Kiyotaka is one of the school's defectives, and that Class D is where they are housed. Menabu tries to get Kiyotaka to join the student council, but he rejects it, and gives Suzune the glory for handling the situation. Suzune and Kiyotaka intend to assist the others in getting into Class A. Class tour, all first-year students board a luxurious cruise ship together. Kiyotaka is told by Chebashir that an unnamed man called the school and asked to be discharged. Chebashir offers to take his place so he can attend Class A. She offers to deport him and take away his freedom if he refuses, but he refuses, suspecting she might be trying to manipulate him. Later, Kiyotaka and Suzune discuss the trip's destination. He confides in her that he believes the school is taking them to a boarding house on an island it owns for another reason than what he originally thought. Regarding the installation of the security cameras, Ryun tries to mislead Suzune. Miyobuki's efforts to get in touch with Ryun while she is a Class C member. Suzune suggests that Class C may be able to internally collapse. Sakagani makes plans in the background as she conducts research with other pupils. The next day, the school informs every student of the excursion's precise aim. For a week, they are isolated on an island. They have to pass a test on survival. From the instructions, Sosuke Hirata talks about how the survival test works. The remaining test points can be changed into class points at the conclusion of the week. The class receives 300 test points to use on food and other luxuries. Test points are deducted from a class when there are accidents, environmental harm, missing roll calls, or aggressive acts committed against other classes. Class D chooses to persevere while the girls feel the need for a portable restroom and prefer to save up points. Kiyotaka is partnered with Sakura and Rosuke Konoji after the gang splits off to look for a campsite. Remembering what Chebashir said about possessing a spot, that only the designated class leader can do it and that each possession lasting for 8 hours earns the team one special test point that can only be exchanged for class points, Kiyotaka leaves Konichi while he and Sakura look for a spot to secure. Additionally, by wagering 50 test points, the class gets to guess who the leader of another class is. Koichi Kosargari is searching for a seat when Kiyotaka finds him holding the leader card and conversing with classmate Yoshiki Tosuka. Once more gathering, Class D sets their camp next to the river. Because she's dependable and blends in, Suzune is chosen as the leader. As Kiyotaka, Yomishi, and Sakura are gathering firewood, Mio is hurt and Kushida decides to give her some fruit that the classmates found. The class decides how to spend their 180 points, which they must use to pay for 2 meals per day, a bathroom, and 10 and an additional 30 points for unforeseen occurrences. Koneji's withdrawal, which costs Class D 30 points because he is not as ill as he says, causes a setback for the group. Suzune and Kiyotaka travel to investigate the situation in other camps. The camp for Class B is situated closer to a waterfall and functions similar to the camp for Class D, but in a nicer area. The camp of Class A is in a well-secured cave. Suzune tries to sneak a peek but retreats when Katsugura sends for a security team and cautions her against doing so, since it may spark a conflict. Under Ryun's direction, Class Camp C is located on a beach where all points have already been used, and the group treats the exam like a vacation. Ryun took this action because they are aware that if they used up all of their test points beforehand, they wouldn't be penalized. Mio is chastised by Ryun for disobeying him. Someone broke into the girls' tent that night in the dark and took the phone from Class D camp. Class D conducts additional reconnaissance to identify the class leaders on the 4th day. When Kiyotaka and Sakura run across Ichinozen camp Class C's, they find out that everyone had dropped out of the exam except for Mio. On the 6th day, Kaigozira learns that her underwear was taken. Ike's luggage is searched by Class D, but Yomichi discovers it there. Kiyotaka accepts it, but the girls insist on being patted down. Hirata discovers Kiyotaka during the pat-down search, but claims he was unable to locate it. He later decides to take the underwear after speaking with him, because Kurozia is his girlfriend and he will face the fewest consequences for being the guilty party. As of Class C decide to divide the boys and girls camp as a result of the event involving the item theft, which causes confidence within the class to decrease. When Mio inquires about the thief's opinion, Kiyotaka tells her that Suda suspects her, while also saying that he believes her. Kiyotaka notices Suzune's sickness during the entire test as they are sitting by a campfire that evening. Suzune had been recuperating in her cabin throughout the cruise, but she was determined to tough it out. The next day, Class D prepares meals ahead of a storm. Kiyotaka asks Suzune to verify that the leader card Katsuguri was holding was genuine, as he was fishing in the river. He sees it, but he's still not convinced. Suzune throws Yamashi to the ground after he approaches her and smears mud on her hair. Someone took the leader card in secret and let Kiyotaka know while Suzune washed the mud out of her hair. Soon later, the survival test handbook is set on fire, which causes Class D to lose even more faith. Suzune fails to reclaim her keycard from Mio because she believes Mio did it since she is from a different class, and no one else saw the altercation. Mio gives the card to the unidentified student. In reality, there were 3 levels of conspiracies at play, each of which refuted the one before it. Ryun and Katsuguri were participating in the biggest plot. Ryun promised to collaborate with Class A, using his obvious spies to create strife and to make sure Katsuguri could identify the leaders, in exchange for eventually providing Ryun mountains of points back at school. But ultimately, Anako Joi's own strategy was successful. As it turned out, Onion Kojoi actually lured his opponents into a trap by exposing Ibuki's blatant betrayal. Ibuki was able to find all the information she needed thanks to Anjoki, who prevented her from being directly confronted or tried to stop her like Horikata did. Then, once Ibuki had supposedly completed her task, Anjoki utilized Horikata's deteriorating condition to compel a change in the group's leadership. And Kojoi undermined C and A by changing the leadership, leaving B alone since, in his words, their current partnership is more valuable to us. The brutality of Onkojoi's strategy was a reflection of both his persona and the core principles of the classroom of the elite. The fact that Onkojoi was willing to use his classmates' anguish and worry to further his own ambitions was a far more cunning strategy than either of the other candidates' games, and it clearly demonstrated how far off he really was from the group. Horikita may have finally perceived his actions as supporting her, but her own goals and affection for Onkojoi probably distorted her perception at the time. In order to gain the trust of others, Kiyotaka tells Harata that she was responsible for class win D after explaining to Suzune that she needed supporters. But Kiyotaka doesn't want anything to do with Suzune or anybody else in his class, since he just sees people as tools, and he will keep using and killing people as long as he wins in the end.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.